5-inch shorts and no shoes. That's how to do it.
You can't see our feet.
Gen Z in the corner.
I was grounding. I'm sorry.
Was that what you were doing?
I'm
You were
sorry, I was
grounding?
trying to ground and meditate. Following your gut. Like, if something smells wrong, like bullshit, like there's something that doesn't add up, typically your gut is right.
There was one billionaire there. The number one takeaway I got from this guy is that he doesn't give a fuck. It either produces for him or it doesn't.
Today's episode is sponsored by Tino's Feet, and he's got no shoes on.
Costa has no shoes on either. You guys are just two peas in a pod over there.
5-inch shorts and no shoes. That's how to do it. Gen Z in the corner.
I was grounding. I'm sorry. I was trying to ground and meditate.
Was that what you were doing? You were
me.
grounding?
Yeah.
Is it possible to tan the bottom of your feet? That's what we were talking about before the episode started.
Maybe if you walk on like pavement.
See, the difference is Angela will like say he journals, but I'll actually journal. I'll actually meditate. I'll actually
I'm talking
ground.
about the fact that the bottom of your feet are tan from being horizontal so much.
And journaled this morning.
I did.
5-minute
Day
journal.
3.
Day 3, yeah.
I've been trying to do this shit for a year and a half.
Thing that's not an easy thing to do.
Did you actually do the 5-minute journal this morning?
I did it, yeah. And it was, I got through it. I felt pretty good after. But, I got to get in like the rhythm and do it like,
You
daily.
need rhythm. You need rhythm.
Yeah, big time. Yep. So today we're going to do a little Q&A. Is that what's happening?
Yes.
The listeners sent in some questions. We get some good ones.
Well, I think we got some pretty good questions today.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Question number 1. What is the biggest challenge you personally have as an entrepreneur?
Who's going to start?
Thank you.
Me? All right. So for me, my biggest challenge is when it comes to dealing with like personnel with employees is knowing how to look at things black and white, knowing when to make the decision to move on, knowing when, not just employees, like just a thing in general. Like if you have like a line of business or something that you're doing that is not working, but you're trying to see the gray in it all the time, like you got to be, I don't want to say heartless, but you have to be, you have to be really black and white when you look at situations and not look so much in the gray all the time. And I feel like I'm always, I'm always looking in the gray at things and trying to like justify why something isn't working or why this person isn't, if we do a little bit more with them, like how to make it work instead of just, when you know for sure in your gut that it's not the right thing, not the right person for the job, that's not pulling the company forward, just to know when to cut bait. So that I think is the hardest thing in entrepreneurship. And I know a lot of people who have made it like a really good distance and in a really good place. And I see one of their biggest qualities, like their superpower, is knowing when to make that decision and making it, with their side of the street clean. Like that, it's not like these people screw anybody. They're just doing it for the what's good for the business, and they're making that decision quickly, swiftly, and with confidence, rather than second guessing yourself all the time. So that's, to me, that's one of the hardest things, because when you're dealing with people, like emotions get involved and all that. So
It's hard to keep emotions separate. It really is.
No, it really is.
You grow with people. You start to become friendly.
Yeah.
Then the line gets blurred and you start making excuses for everyone.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why when people say like entrepreneurship isn't for the faint of heart, like that's one of the reasons why. It's not just, selling product that's difficult. It's dealing with people and making difficult decisions all the time.
Right.
I think I take things too personally. Like if someone does me wrong in business, like, oh, business is business. For me, it's like a fuck you. Like I take it very personally, which is not a right thing to do. Like if somebody screws you because it's the benefit of them and it's for their own agenda, like, okay, it is what it is. That is business. For me, like I take that very personally. I think me and Dad have that in common. So that's one of my personal, probably biggest
Yeah,
thing
I mean,
in
it's
business. It's tough,
the
dude.
same idea.
It goes back, to the
No,
same
it's
thing.
similar.
Like instead of taking things personal and taking things to heart, it's black and white, business decision,
Right. When I went to the first mastermind that I ever went to a couple of years ago, there was one billionaire there. And when I came back, I don't remember which one of you guys I was talking to, but I was like, the number one takeaway I got from this guy is that he doesn't give a fuck. It either produces for him or it doesn't.
Right.
Like, remember I told you he sold like fucking 500 houses or something? He just decided it was time to sell. Like, no personal attachment. Not like, oh, I love this house. That one I have like a personal like if it's not producing income for him, it's out.
Right. Or if he thinks he maximized the value out of it, like it's
gone.
not going to go
Like
anymore.
there's zero personal attachment to it.
I think that also has to do with their guardrails. Like if they know, like to that guy's point, right? He probably has something in his head where if they're not producing a certain amount for him at that moment, in his head, his formula is like, I need to sell all of them, move that money to here, and then level up that. Like everything is very
he did have a formula.
Linear and
so
uniform.
His whole thing, he was playing a big macro game. Like he buys real estate, single family homes, and when he thinks he tries to time up the market. When he thinks the market's going to crash, he sells high and he lends money. When the market's down, he's lending money. You know what I'm saying? Then he'll rebuy real estate, and
it's so
he tries to time up the cycle.
It's so simple, dude. But it's simple. Like the idea behind a lot of the billionaires that I know are like high worth individuals. They just have a very simple process, and they just become an expert at it. Like he said, it sounds easy. You sell high. When the markets dip, I'm going to lend my money out. When it's time to buy again, I buy. Right. Sounds simple. He just does it at a high level.
It's knowing when to pull the trigger on it. You know, knowing when to make that move. Right. You know?
So what have you done to I could think of some things, but just to start the conversation to try and combat yourself from being too emotional with people? Like how do you evaluate a situation now versus when you had struggled with it?
So when I try to look at something now, it's like, do I know in my gut that this person isn't doing the job 100%? Like isn't benefiting the company, isn't pulling the company forward? If the answer is no, then it's time to move on.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Do you want to know how
timely
I
reviews?
justify it?
You know, like we've done that a lot recently. It's like, okay, in 3 months, you know, even like the insurance thing. In 3 months, let's look back. If it hasn't progressed, we're out.
Right.
Doesn't matter what the fucking circumstances are around. You could justify all the outside little factors, but is it doing what we wanted it to do, or is it not?
Right.
You know what I think that helps make the hard decisions? Like if you're fire someone that you really like, let's just say, for example, and you know that person's not doing good for the family or doing good for the business, and you keep like pushing it along, pushing it back. It's almost comes to a point where, is it my family or his? Mm-hmm. You know, like I need to put food on my table.
Right.
You know, so it's like maybe putting that into perspective of like, it's either my kids or Lucho's kids or someone else's. And I'm going to pick mine 10 times out of 10.
Yeah.
Usually it benefits the other person too when it's time to go. Like if somebody's not succeeding in a certain role, like there's other jobs out there. Like people
And they may
find their own way.
And at the moment they might be emotional and upset with you that you decided to move on. But I think if you make the right decision, what's best for the company, that they're not succeeding, they're not doing good in that role, when they look back on it, they'll be thankful that you made that decision for them. You know, because maybe they didn't see it at the time, but you know, time has a way of like, you know, you're able to see like back and there's clarity on what happened in that situation when you're not in the moment, and people will probably be thankful, like, you know, thank you for recognizing that.
Yeah.
And this wasn't what I was good at. This wasn't what I was meant to do. I was meant to do something else. And because you let me go, you know, even though I didn't think it was time, but you know, you let me go, and it allowed me to pursue something else that they might be successful at.
Right. There's never a good time to do it. That's another thing. Like you're always justifying time and season. Is right now the right time, or we should wait a couple months and then do it, and then we can find. The sooner the better. Like there's never a bad time to cut dead weight.
Yeah.
There's really not. Like you'll the sooner you cut it out, the sooner you give room for the new good things to come in.
Exactly. Yeah, but bottom line is, you know, entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. You know, you got to be able to make tough decisions at tough times, and you got to follow your gut sometimes and follow it and then do it. Don't fucking justify. Don't try to like hedge your bets. Just make a move and go and move forward.
For right or wrong, doesn't matter.
What if it was the right decision, the wrong decision? You made a decision.
Indecision is I think is worse than making the wrong decision.
100%.
100%, and it leads to stress, anxiety. Like you're just
all of it.
Shit piles up on you. Like you just have a million things that you got to work through because you haven't made clear decisions and directions on everything leading up. I think that's definitely a difficult thing when it comes to entrepreneurship.
100%.
Yeah,
action cures all.
That's a fact. That's a fact. There's no better feeling than when you take action and you like take control of a situation. It's the minute you start producing every day again, and like you have your finger on the pulse and you're in control over the situation, all of a sudden you start feeling better mentally.
Right. Even if what you did wasn't that productive.
Right.
But you still even, you know, for like a small example, like you cleaned your room, you're building momentum, you know?
You feel good that you did it.
Right. Exactly. Even though someone else could have done it for you, but
Instead of walking by and seeing the room a fucking mess every day and you're like getting pissed that it's a
Right.
mess. You
Yeah.
know, like doing something about it is huge.
Yeah.
So
I have a follow-up question to that too, though. Have you ever had a situation where you regretted letting go of someone?
that's a good question.
I think I might have one for you guys.
Whoa.
There's a chef at Beverly who you guys said was like the best chef of all time, but you guys fired him because that one thing, which he deserved to get scolded for.
Yeah. Then I ruined my fucking summer
Yes.
where I had to work
What was his
fucking
name?
7 days a week, miss 4 of my
Yeah.
friends'
What the hell
weddings.
was that guy's name?
I know his name. We want to say it.
Starts with a V.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was an unbelievable chef and he was great. Like he created the whole menu. Like he taught me a lot. I worked next to him every day in the kitchen. I learned probably more from him than anybody.
Yeah.
And there was some other things that were happening along the way too. It wasn't just that one thing, but basically what the story was quick was it was a Monday night. A big group of 15 people came in at 8:45.
Which in Beverly, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know,
Small
we
restaurant.
closed at 9. Kitchen closed at 9 for context. So people came in at 8:45. They ordered apps. Then they went to order dinner at like 9:15, and he said kitchen's closed and refused to make the entrees. So one of those people in that group, it got back to me somehow, and then the next day we let him go for that reason. But he was unbelievable. And
I think that's a good decision.
no,
The other side of the coin is, well, did he, you know, you start putting it on yourself and rationalizing, well, does he know what the hours are? Does he, you know, did we make that clear? Were the expectations set? But
Yeah.
it's like, dude, some things, it's a fucking character thing.
yeah, it is.
If you don't know that you don't cut a fucking table off halfway through, then it's
Right.
your problem.
I regretted it in the short term because I literally had to work 7 days a week for that entire fucking for like 4
That
months.
always plays a factor in making big
Yeah,
decisions.
that sucked, but it's something like that was gonna happen sooner or later. So it was just we just cut we just cut bait and fucking figured it out
Other than
faster.
that, if you really think about it, I don't think.
There was one
With
manager
Nutra-
that we had that lady. Remember that lady that I fired her against my will.
The
I didn't-
army
Yeah.
girl, like the.
No, I don't know. I thought she was good. She was really strong. Like she was really like hard on everybody. I didn't want to let her go, but you know, he did.
The problem was the staff was revolting against her. It was literally either this girl or the entire staff.
Yeah, that's what I was looking
But
like.
that girl probably could have rebuilt the entire staff, and
Exactly.
we could probably be further along than we are now.
Exactly.
She was that powerful. Like she was strong.
Yeah, alpha. And you know, she was experienced, you know, like this was before we were like ready to hire experienced people.
It was.
We were at this point in our careers, this was like probably 10 years ago.
Right. It was our first restaurant. Still.
Yeah, we were still trying to like do everything like our way. And we didn't want to hear what other people said, like that came in with experience. We just wanted bodies to like take shifts, right? Not like actually hear what they had to say about how to run things. But I wanted to kind of go that way with it. I was like, fuck it. If all these people want to leave, like the things that she's trying to do were like what was best. I remember one thing was like, yeah, the bartender not taking the high tops. Like there was like a person
Right.
on the high tops and the bartender wanted
Right. It
to
was the
quit.
right decision.
It was like some bullshit like that. It was the right decisions that she was making. She was just doing it very like
Right.
strongly. And you know, and then but basically we had to let her go. And but even when we let her go, I was like she could tell
Yeah.
I didn't want to let her go.
But that's the right
Tough.
decision too. In hindsight, if you don't have the people skills to be able to manage that situation,
Yeah.
like you got to have a little bit of finesse too. That's a big part of the job,
Yeah.
you know.
Exactly. Other than that though, off the top of my head, I can't think of anybody. It always ends up, you know, working
It's usually 6 months or a year overdue. It's like a huge relief when it's
That's
done.
our
Yeah.
biggest problem. It's
Yeah.
at least 6 months.
Well,
Right.
that's where it comes down to like knowing when to make that decision
Right.
and executing on it and not waiting and not letting it fester and more shit build up
Right.
and then it becomes harder. Just
Setting
do it.
boundaries. You know, we're bringing in another huge position right now, and it's literally 3 months on the dot. We're going to sit down. We're going to measure the things that we talked about in the beginning, and we're going to see where they're at. And it's either going to go one way or another. 3 months is the new
Hard and
max.
fast.
Right, exactly.
3 months is it. If you're not moving the needle in 3 months, you're out.
Right.
And you have what you need. We did our part of the job. You know.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
Question number 2. What are some lessons you've learned from bad business deals?
Want me to go?
Tina, I can take
I've
this
made a
one away.
nice-
He's passionate about
Really
this
nice.
one.
I made a lot of mistakes. probably following your gut. Like, if something smells wrong, like if it smells like bullshit, like there's something that doesn't add up, whether it's too good to be true or like, oh, this guy says he's one thing, but he acts this way. And everyone seems to like him, but there's just something a little off. Typically, your gut is right. And don't do business with that person. You're safer to not do business with that person than to do business with that person. So, I don't know. I've made a lot of mistakes with bad judgment calls, and my gut was always right. But like I got lost in the references of that person, or I got lost in the flashiness of what that guy, seemed to have success or claimed to be success. But when you really peeled back the onions years later, it was fucking bullshit, and your intuition was right.
Yeah. I get a simple rule. If it seems too good to be true, it is. If the returns that are being promised are too high, then it's probably not going to come back to you at all. And if you don't fully understand what you're investing in,
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Like there's a few of them, that I don't really understand, like what's happening, like how the money is being made and how those returns are possible. And it's coming to find out that it's not a real thing, So you have to fully understand what you're investing into. I actually watched an interview somewhere like recently about a guy who worked at Citibank who invested $150 million of the bank's money into, oh God, who's that Sam Bankman-Fried? What's it called? FTX. So he actually just said in this thing, he said, I learned a lot of lessons from that. So they lost all that money. If you don't fully understand it, don't make the investment.
Yeah, no one understands what they're investing.
Exactly. And the only reason they did it, he literally said to the owner of the bank, he said, before they made the investment, he said, I don't fully understand what this is, but this is the list of investors that are in. And it was all these huge names, they're like these really smart billionaire, millionaire guys.
That's what got us on the
So
couple.
he was like, what am I missing here? Like, so basically he went in because everyone else was in, That was like the thing that pushed him over the edge. The owner of the bank said, I don't know, you make the decision. And the guy said, all right. He went with it and what pushed him over the edge was all these other people in it. So he said two things. One, if you don't fully understand it, don't do it. And number two, don't do it just because everyone else is doing it, because everyone else is probably getting fooled the same way.
NFTs, fucking
you have to
crypto.
fully understand.
But what's at the core of all those bad deals? It's the shiny coin.
Yeah, and don't chase the shiny coin.
It's the shiny coin. This is going to return 20% a month. But when you start to think, what if that actually happens? That 100,000 could be $1 million.
Right.
In 14
That
months.
fucks you up.
Right. And you start to fucking fantasize about that.
Right.
Like, wow, some easy money.
Right.
The universe doesn't fucking allow it.
Well, because
Exactly.
hardworking people get really like awe to that because they're like, wow, I worked all year to make 200.
Mm-hmm.
I could just put that 200, make that in no work, make a fucking $1 million.
Right.
Whoa, like that's why it becomes
That's
so
the
fucking
attraction.
attractive.
That's
Oh yeah,
the
dude,
attraction.
it's human nature takes over, like greed takes over, or whatever you call it, like fear of missing out. All those things take over, but that's where you got to have discipline. So that's very, very difficult to do. And also the people who are running it, like whoever's bringing you this investment, you have to truly, truly trust them and truly vet what they're doing. I've been seeing so many things coming out right now about like Ponzi schemes and
Fucking fraud.
you see that guy like DJ Envy, whatever the fuck that guy is. I don't know who he is, but him and another guy, they were doing like, like talks all around the country, and they were doing real estate investment deals. I guess the whole thing was a Ponzi scam, the entire thing. And again, what they do is they put out flash. They make like, look what I'm doing. Obviously, it's working, and they do it like with confidence, man. Like they go out there, I have a hard time like seeing it because I can't lie like that. I could never, ever, ever do that.
Right.
Like just stand up there and just tell bullshit like that.
I think a lot of them fucking believe it. That's the problem.
Well, dude, how can you believe they don't? I guess they didn't even have deals going. They were literally just
Yeah,
raising
that
money from
situation,
people and then just paying other people like returns with new money that they raised.
That's a
legitimate
Ponzi scheme.
A
Right?
Ponzi
That's
scheme.
a Ponzi scheme.
So like, it's not like how can you believe it? There was no like real estate being had,
Right. Right.
So they're literally just phonies going out there. So I have a hard time like believing that's even possible to do because like I literally couldn't even imagine doing that. So it's hard to see the bad in people or the bad like intentions when you don't even have a fiber of that own thought in your own body.
Right.
So it's hard to see that, but you have to have skepticism when you're looking at
Right.
everything. And it's not, and don't be afraid of being like offensive when you want to have like your lawyer look at something and you look into it
Right.
deeper and negotiate. protections for yourself. And if you are going to make this type of investment, always protect yourself. Doesn't matter what, because when shit hits the fan, that protection is all you have. If you didn't read that contract and that contract wasn't right, and then you bring it to a lawyer after, he's going to look at you like you're a fucking idiot.
Right.
How did you sign this thing? But at the time, you were like, "Oh, this guy's the man. He's my boy." Like,
you don't want to offend him.
I don't want to offend him. I don't want to push back too hard.
Relationship is a relationship.
That's bullshit.
That relationship will be better at the end of the day, because if you're showing up with your attorney in a fucking bulletproof letter, that person's going to respect you. They might be a little annoyed, but they're going to respect you more as a business person at the end of the day. Maybe not in that moment, but in the long run, they will.
Exactly. And guess what? When shit does hit the fan, you have protections, because when things get ugly, all that stuff goes out the window in a fucking blink of an eye.
And we've done plenty of those investments. Like the first, as soon as you start making money, you think, okay, where are we going to invest our money? Right? Like, how can we duplicate this money fast? Right. In addition to what, we're still cash flowing and reinvesting into businesses, but we've made a ton of bad deals. Exactly. I think we should talk about a couple.
I mean, which one?
I mean, I don't know about individually, but like I think we just kind of laid out like the turn, like the issues with them, But all of them, the ones that did go bad, we didn't have the proper protections in place.
Yeah, we had the proper lawyer.
We didn't have the proper attorney looking at stuff at the time, like to put the proper protections in place. And if you can't get the type of protections that you need, back out. Don't do it.
Right.
You're much, much better not to do the deal than to do a deal and not have those protections in place.
Like one of the developers that we were funding out of state, like what really pushed us over to do that deal is I had a friend, a very close friend, and he's still a great friend, referred us to the deal, and he was doing it for 7 years.
Yeah.
Not one issue. They had somebody paid a private investigator to look at this guy's background for months. All these other people did all this background, all this research, couldn't find a fucking thing on this guy.
Yeah.
Then COVID happens.
That whole thing up.
Yeah, so that one's a little tough because we had a good run too for a while with it, and then COVID shit hit the fan. But the reason shit hit the fan is because the returns were too big for everybody. So when shit did hit the fan, he was over leveraged, and there was nothing he could do to get out of it. So I remember Dad kept saying like, that's gonna fall apart soon. It doesn't matter when. It's a fact. It's like 1 + 1 is 2.
Overinflated balloon.
Yeah, exactly. He's overpaying returns to people. There's no possible way that he's able to keep that going forever. If there's any type of bump in the road, it's gonna come crashing down. And then COVID was that bump in the road, and it did come crashing down.
Yeah.
And he was over levered. He owed way too many people way too much money, and lawsuits start coming, and then boom, and next thing you know, like you're fucking tied up in court,
Yeah.
and your money's tied up. So,
but that one was tough because again, 7 years, people so close to him knew everything about this guy, private investigators, all this stuff.
you know where we fucked up is that with that one, we kept doubling down more and more and more and more every time, instead of just playing with a certain amount
and being disciplined
and taking your principal back. And then just playing with the interest the whole way, playing with house money. We kept,
shiny coin.
Okay, we put 50 in, we got 100 back, put the whole 100 back in. The 100 came back, now it's 200, you put the whole 200 back. Instead of being disciplined and staying with like okay, you're only playing with 50 every time,
Right, let's just play with house
money
money.
off,
Yeah, I got
money off the table.
I got
And
fucked
then
at the end.
by the time when COVID hit, we were doubled up everywhere because we were fucking riding high. Next thing you know, we got destroyed because the bump in the road did come.
Yeah.
So again, it's being disciplined,
right?
And that's hard to do when you're getting returns for a while. It's like, you're like, this is unbelievable.
It's been working.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to be disciplined.
The other one, the mistake that we made about the operator of the company was we trusted the referrals. So the referrals that we got were from people that at the time I admired. Guys like, there's guys like.
What deal are you talking about?
The guy who was arrested.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think his intentions were good in the beginning.
I don't know.
He spun himself into a pretzel.
What do you mean, dude?
Tan.
Oh, yeah.
So, that one, we were so hard vetting it in the beginning.
Yeah.
And we called all these references, all the people that were doing his stuff. And my fault was I trusted I admired the people that
Made the connection.
And the references that I was getting, I was like, there's no way this guy would do business with this guy if he was a scumbag.
Well, we also looked into him too. Like we went to his office and saw like employees.
Talked to his staff.
Going back in time, I think all those people were props in the office.
I know.
No.
I really
Probably.
think they were just
great.
props.
They were
Great
great
props.
people because we were like, okay, if you don't trust this guy, let's judge his staff.
Right.
And his staff was excellent.
Right.
Or the 3 people we were dealing with, at least.
Yeah. Then afterwards, though, when shit hit the fan, they told me like, "Oh no, all your stuff was outsourced to India and all
and
this
shit.
stuff, and he's been not paying them, and that's why this is happening, you know, and that's why your website's fucking falling apart because you had a hack do it. He charged you $75,000 or whatever the hell it was, and he only paid them like
10.
$2,000, you
Like
know,
a sub job, yeah.
and then those people aren't doing. He's not even paying them the $2,000 that he promised them. And, you know, and then again, it goes back to the ethics of the people that you're working with, you know?
But with him, it would always sounded and felt sketchy. Anyone who did business with that guy said the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's like he does and he's around and he's in Dubai and it all makes sense. Like, it all looks okay, but there's something off. And we just should have took that something's off as, okay, let's walk away, find someone else.
It's
Yeah.
the people that talk too good. The people you need to worry about is the ones that talk a beautiful game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the good interview situation.
Yeah.
Like a too good of an interview, stop and see what the fuck's going on with this guy.
You're too good at. Why are you so good at
Right.
being?
If you're
in
that good at talking, you have a lot of problems
No, if you're that good at an
delivering
interview,
or doing anything else.
Yeah,
you've
it's
been in
crazy.
too many interviews.
I was listening to Andy Frisella say something about like famous people, and he's like, and it was like a podcast. He was like, you don't even want to meet the famous people. He's like, I know the famous entrepreneurs, the business people, the actors. I've been around them, and they have the most problems. They're like the most fucked up out of like the regular people, and that's like why he says he doesn't hang out with any of them, just
Yeah.
because like they're the
They're the most
craziest.
messed up. Dude, it's crazy how people put on a show for the camera.
Oof, nowadays it's freaking out of control.
Dude, crazy. I just went to Miami, and you know the people I was with, they're all real people. Okay, I'll say that 100%. Right,
Yeah.
like all real. What you see is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, but I observed a lot of other people, and like crazy, dude. Like they put on, like you see just people in the corner, like putting the camera on and then starting, like they just flip a switch, like they're all actors. You know. And like Miami is like the capital of the world with that shit. It's
like a
all
mecca.
about fucking flash and bullshit, you know? And there's so many fakes down there, you know? It's crazy. Like, so you,
I just don't know how they live. Like, you can't fake living in Miami.
no, but dude, what they do is that they put on that show so they can get money from their followers in one way or another, whether it's a program or something that they're
Coaching, blah, blah,
selling,
blah.
you know what I'm saying? And then they make their money to live that lifestyle. But if behind that facade, there's nothing else. It's just that facade. You know, it's not, they don't have investments. They're not like, you know, they don't have like money saved. They're not real people. They don't do real business. They just have this facade,
Yeah.
and every dollar they make from their followers, they're just reinvesting into their lifestyle to continue to put on the show, you know? Again, the people I'm with down there are real. I'm telling you, whatever you see is what it is. But I observed a lot. Every time I go down there, it's like shocking.
I have right now. I think we've gone fucked so much that I got a nose for the football. Like I don't think you
We'll
can.
see, dude. Because once we get through this storm that we're in right now with all this bullshit that's going on everywhere, we are going to be disciplined as fuck moving forward.
Yeah.
We're not going to follow shiny coins. We're not going to go in business with people that we don't fully trust. We're going to take our advice, and it's going to be black and white with everything.
Yeah.
You know, here's another advice. When you're in a bad deal, the minute you see a shaky ground in like what is they say they're supposed to do and it's not being done, immediately
out.
send a lawyer. No,
Yeah.
if you're already invested, immediately send somebody after them. You know, don't wait, play it slow, play nice. No, there is no nice. It's right.
Hard
go
and
right
heavy
to-
early before everyone else does.
Yeah.
Like you might as well be the squeaky wheel early. Like because the squeaky wheels get their money first.
They get the oil.
Every time I've seen it, anytime there's a squeaky wheel in the beginning, they're fucking the first ones out, and we're always sitting there like, "Fuck, we should have been." We should have done that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We've learned a lot of lessons. We've done a lot of different shit.
In the
Also
last
lost
3
a lot
years,
of fucking
dude.
money,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all a lesson, you know?
Yep. It's
I
expensive.
don't, the fact that we're still
expensive college.
fucking,
Expensive lesson.
the fact that we lost those and now are and still good, is
but
more
we
impressive
shoot,
than like anything
shoot or
else.
shoot, baby. We're freaking
That's it. It's always darkest before the dawn.
exactly,
Yeah,
It's cash flow and fucking rock and roll.
exactly. When you're cash flowing, you could fucking shoot.
right.
Yeah, exactly.
I got a question too, following up that. You said, you just talked about like broadly, but you said deals. What is your opinion on like the focus when it comes to deals, like picking certain industries or investments? Like where does that come into play?
That's
So
like the guardrail theory.
The things that we've just been talking about are anywhere from real estate development deals, Forex,
Lending.
hard money lending, out of state real estate projects. What are some other ones? Fucking
Marijuana.
Yeah, marijuana facility. So there's a bunch of different things that come. They start coming to you once people know that you're in the game. Deals start coming to you, then you have to be able to vet them. So what I would go into from now on is only with developers that are legit and that have a good financial backing and that have a track record of success.
Experience, yeah.
Right? Or get into a fund where they're vetting everything properly and you're protected under their umbrella.
Right. A lot of it has to do with the paperwork.
Oh, dude, it's everything. Get a good lawyer. Yeah. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, if you're going to get in the game, get a good lawyer.
Yeah. What else?
Question 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people are saying we are going into recession. How are you guys preparing?
Plug your holes and dot your fucking I's and cross your T's. I
I
think
would
savings
say-
is a big thing this year.
It depends like what position you're in. If you're a business owner, I would say the first thing you want to do starting right now, which is something that we've started doing, is really understanding your costs. Your cost for labor, your cost of goods, your operational cost. Once you know your cost, then you can start making decisions. You got to really, really understand what the expensive things are that you're doing, where the waste is. Once you start knowing your costs, you can start trimming fat, start trimming waste, so that's like number one. Once you know that, then you can start making decisions. In addition to cutting costs, because you don't want to turtle necessarily.
Right. You're still trying to grow.
You're trying to grow, but you need to know your costs before you start the process to grow, so you know where to invest or where to push. So in recessions is where a lot of people, where like a lot of millionaires or like people really take to the next level is when, because 90% of people put their head in the shell and just turtle up and wait for the recession to end. But you want to fucking push during the recession. You want to stick out, from the crowd, So know your cost, know where to push. Also, you got to start thinking innovatively, right? Where's consumer behavior looking, right? Is it low cost providing products? Like look at your product lines, look at your services and see what can I do to help people in this time, right? Where can I provide extra value for customers? Because during a recession, people are still spending money, but they're value hunting, right? Mm-hmm. So you need to be able to over provide value for the same cost. So if you can get your costs tight, it allows you to over deliver for the customer at a cheaper rate or at a more valuable price, So get your costs tight and over deliver to your products, to your consumers.
That. I think multiple streams of revenue is important too.
Yeah.
So if one, direct to consumer might take a shot this year or for a few months or whatever it is, you might have another lever, whether it's wholesale or, whatever it is, value packages, that kind of thing, that might grow during a recession.
Right.
But if all your eggs are in one basket, that's when you have a problem.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And again, it depends on what industry you're in. If you're in real estate, it might be, understand where the market is right now and get your pricing to today's, the market doesn't lie. So wherever the market is right now, you got to get to today's pricing. Stop looking back.
Right. And good investors, to like the previous point, like who are you going to give your money to? If you give your money to a savvy investor, a developer that's been doing it and they've seen what a recession looks like,
right? They're
preparing for that.
Exactly.
So that doesn't mean you're going to lose money because it's a recession. Those people already have those numbers factored in. They have that an additional exit plan, that kind of thing. Like they're not going to lose. They're they're savvy in their space.
Exactly. And if you handle yourself right during a recession, whether it's a company you're marketing or real estate that you're investing in, or you can really come out the other side better off than you are, because there's going to be deals to be had 100%. Everywhere.
Our biggest growth came during COVID.
Right.
That's when we picked up We picked up another restaurant. Nutre exploded.
Yeah, the restaurants really started doing.
Yeah, we
Takeout.
got a couple good real estate
You
deals.
mastered takeout.
Yeah, we really developed an unbelievable takeout and catering
Yeah,
program.
yeah.
You just can't be afraid. You got to double down and just pay attention. I think, like you said, I think consumer behavior is huge.
Exactly. It's not like, you know, a recession. A recession isn't just like everything crashes overnight necessarily.
Right.
It's happened right now. In my opinion, it's happening right now. It's not like
It has been. I
it's
think
coming. It's here. This is what it looks like. You know, like people's credit cards are fucking maxed out. Everything's really expensive. People are starting to change their spending habits. You can see it. We have a pretty good idea, like, of the macro economy, just because we service so many people, right? So we can see in our companies, like, how, and you can see between all of our businesses, they all kind of, they're riding the same waves. You
Yeah.
know, so you can see consumer behavior, how it's changing. You know, like this year versus the same time last year. So it's happening right now. So it's not like this when you hear like, oh, the word recession. What recession actually means, like in the term that the media uses it, is a negative growth in GDP for the country,
Yeah.
right? But I look at it like it's what's going on around you, like in the economy, like what's consumer behavior looking like, what's spending looking like, and that shit is changing. It's not like everyone just stays in their house and never buys anything ever again. People
Right.
still need to live. People are still working. The good news right now is that the unemployment is super low.
Yeah.
Do you want to know my opinion on that? On speaking on the unemployment,
Yeah, go ahead. I was just mid word, but go ahead. Go ahead.
I think that Amazon, Uber, and like DoorDash save the entire country.
Yes, you
If-
heard that at the mastermind, right? I heard. No, you just came up with that.
Yeah. Well, mastermind.
Okay,
Questionable.
That's questionable.
Well, mastermind.
No, it's fine.
I wasn't there.
No, it's good.
It's
It's
good.
fine.
The reason I think that is because if it wasn't for the side income that you can produce
Yeah,
if you're
I
willing
think
to,
you're right. It's a good point.
you would be like the country would be fucked.
Well,
Everyone's living on that secondary like $500 to $1,000 a month or $500 to $1,000 a week or a month, whatever, to combat the inflation. Because if they didn't have that, it would just be
Well, that's profound, because that's what I think is also true. Like, so right now, unemployment is super, super low. And in 2008 or whatever, like 2008 to 2010, when things were really bad, like the Great Recession, unemployment skyrocketed, right? So that was the core. I mean, there was a bunch of things that happened in real estate and all that
defaulted
stuff we can get
loans and
into, but a big issue was not people weren't working. You can hire anybody at any time to do anything. Right now, there's such a low unemployment rate. There's a pent up demand for like skilled labor and stuff like that. So people are still working and making money. But even if people do start getting laid off right now, there is Uber and those side hustle things that can keep people going, so they don't lose their houses and all that stuff. That could really like
the issue now
snowball.
is everything's just too
think
fucking
about how much
expensive.
shit you can do in this country to make
And-
money. Shoveling, fucking putting up somebody's lights, cleaning somebody's backyard, blowing the leaves. Like there's so much shit
Yeah.
you could do. Pool.
You want to know another thing that I think this recession is going to be way different than the last one? Is that I read a stat somewhere like 80% of homeowners in America have interest rates less than 4,
Yeah.
right? So people are locked in to good interest rates right now.
Yeah.
So they're locked into like a payment that's reasonable,
Reasonable, yeah.
you know? So if you can find a way to work and make ends meet and keep your house, that is a big difference between this recession that's coming and the last one. What's fucking happening right now is that things are so expensive, you know, that people just are disgusted with how expensive everything is, that they just don't want to spend.
Right.
I think the biggest
The
thing that's
money.
going to happen in our generation is you're not going to see homeowners under the age of 30 anymore. Like that's gone.
Well, dude, that's what they're doing right now by raising the rates is having the opposite effect of what they wanted to happen. The reason they wanted to raise the rates was to decrease inflation, which they can say whatever they want. Oh, like the inflation has like gone down or stabilized. Dude, everything is still very, very, very expensive. Nothing has come down because the cost of labor went up so much, so drastically. You
Right.
can't reduce the cost of labor after it goes
Right.
up.
The cost of goods came down.
The cost of some goods come down, but not fucking labor. Once
Right.
someone makes $30 an hour, you can't bring them back down to 22.
Right.
You know, like they are there, and then now they, you know, the rent has gone up, everything like that. But with these interest rates, what it's done by going up on the rates so much is that it forced people that wanted to sell their homes not to sell their homes because they don't want to sell their 3% interest rate to get into 8% somewhere else, which is decreasing inventory and making it so that all these people who are in their mid-20s and early 30s and all that stuff who are like ready to buy homes, there's nothing for them to buy. And anything they do want to buy is unaffordable because of these fucking rates. So they wanted to help make houses more affordable by doing this. It had the exact opposite reaction. And then once the rates do go down, there's such a pent-up demand for people that need to buy.
It's going to be crazy.
The minute the rates start creeping down a little bit, you're going to see so many houses hit the market, and they're just going to be a bidding wars on bidding wars for so many people to buy.
The only way to prevent that from happening is a mass explosion of inventory.
Which could happen too, because there's also going to be a pent up demand of people who've been waiting to sell that haven't.
Right.
You know,
I don't think that's enough people.
but I don't think it's enough.
The scary
There's more
part
that
about
want to
this
buy.
whole thing is America is going to turn to a renter's market.
A nation of renters.
A nation of renters, which is a problem. And if you look back, like when mom bought a house, right? Let's say mom bought a house in the 90s. Let's say the average house was like $200,000. Like you say, oh well, yeah, but their income was less. It's not even comparable into perspective. To buy like $1 million house and the average like salaries here is like $50,000. Back then it was like the average salary was like $35,000, but their houses were like $250,000. So you see what I'm saying? The difference in income to home value was way less.
And the cost of living, dude, was way less. Dude, the cost of living right now, and before they didn't have Netflix, Disney Plus, fucking Hulu, your cell phone bill. All these internet bills, all just those things I just named were things that weren't here like 10 years ago, and right there is like $300 a month, right? Just on top of what like an average family needs to do, and you can't not have a cell phone, you can't not have internet, you know, dude. Comcast charges like $100 a month just for fucking internet,
right?
Your family plan for a cell phone bill is like $200 a month or something like that.
Yeah. Healthcare, forget about it.
Yeah, dude. Your cost of insurance. I mean, you need to make like $300,000 a year.
Guess how much I pay for insurance? I checked yesterday.
What for a family?
I lost it.
For a family plan?
No, my personal car.
Oh,
I lost it. I called Eric. I said I need a new plan.
$800 a month.
Up? Well, dude,
$9,700 a year.
Okay, but let's preface this by saying how many accidents have you been in and how many tickets have you had?
Accidents, not many at all. Maybe one.
You were averaging a ticket a week.
Ticket was a problem.
How many texting and driving?
Some texting.
There was a point in time where you were getting pulled over by the same cop on the same street.
Guy.
Self-inflicted wounds.
Yeah, being on your phone. He just kept giving you tickets like, dude, when are you going to look at the road?
Time out.
So I don't fucking feel bad at all.
$9,800 a year, dude.
That's not even bad.
Fucking car
you're
payment.
uninsurable, dude. You're uninsurable.
That's a fucking car payment.
I know, but you deserve that. You know how much mine is?
No way.
You're a hazard on the road.
Yeah. Mine is, you know how much my insurance is for me and my wife? Like, two cars, nice cars, $220 a month.
Yeah, mine too.
That's what a fucking
That's
good
fantastic.
driver gets. I know, but you, my friend, are a
4X
scumbag.
that.
Huh?
4X that.
Yeah,
To the public.
but that is a bad example. Yes, the cost of insurance has gone up. It's terrible, but you, my friend, deserve it.
No, that's fucking.
You are a
earned it.
hazard. You are underwritten.
Fucking 7 years ago, I got a ticket. Still, I got to fucking pay for it now.
I'm surprised they didn't cut your insurance completely. Did you have to go to that like re-driving school to like get your
Twice.
It's
Okay.
tough.
Yeah.
It's
Everyone
tough.
does that fucking class.
I've never done that class, dude.
I've never done
Yeah.
that.
That's
What?
not. No.
Dude, I've had my license for how many years? Like 15? No,
15.
no,
20
20
years.
22 years. I've never been into an accident. Knock on wood. And I've never.
Mitsubishi.
Huh? Dad totaled my Mitsubishi Eclipse. I went like to lunch and I just see my car in a fucking tow truck being towed out. I'm like, what happened? I called Dad. He's like, yeah, I crashed the car.
No, I've only been in one accident. It wasn't my fault.
And
I
I
got
don't
totaled,
think
not
I've even
granted.
ever gotten a ticket. I'm a pristine driver,
No, tickets
ladies and
I-
gentlemen. Great driver.
you're-
I
the
also had a
sensors.
gun pulled on me. A police officer pulled me out of the car, guns drawn, gun to head, pulled me out of the window, put me on the car.
Why?
You don't remember that?
Texting that
I
back.
remember
Because
that.
you were texting that hard?
No. In college, my buddy Charlie Bates left a fucking airsoft gun in my glove compartment. This guy pulled me over for tinted windows, or I don't forget what the fuck it was. Pulled it down. He goes, license and registration. Where's my registration?
Oh God. Here's my
In
gun.
the glove box.
Here's my gun.
I undo the glove box. The guy sees it. Guns drawn. Gun to head. Pulled me out of the window. Okay. Onto the ground. In the middle of the Medford roundabout.
Wow.
Gun to head outside of the car now. Arrested. Okay. And this guy is screaming at me, dude.
Were you shit faced?
No.
Definitely.
It was like 2 p.m. during the middle of the
PM?
day. I said, what's going on, sir? He was like, do you have a gun? I said, no, it's an airsoft gun. My friend put it there, like, I'm so sorry. And then he got so pissed, he put me in the back of the car. He took all the shit in my car, emptied it all out, like in my car seat. There was like pill bottles, like my Adderall, my like whatever Medicaid. He just poured it all on the seats, let me go, and that was it.
Wow.
He said, I could have killed you. I was going to kill you. I should have killed you. I was so close
I
to
should
killing you.
have killed you?
He's like,
That's
I
great.
was
He
so
regretted
close.
not killing you?
He's like, I was so
Tough,
close
that's
of
tough.
killing you. I was
Like,
so close
finally,
to
I
pulling the
get the moment
trigger.
to finally
He's like,
kill
what if that was, he's like, my life was on line. I was going to kill you. I was going to pull the trigger.
Could have shot me in the leg, buddy.
Like, Jesus Christ, buddy. You're going to put a gun to my head? I'm fucking 18.
Well, you probably deserved it.
Did you have that? Oh, never mind.
Yeah, I had the Mazda.
That's
Yeah. Moral of the
okay.
story, don't carry fake guns in your car.
No, crazy.
Not the move.
Yeah. So I forget what was it we were even talking
The
about?
recession.
Oh, yeah.
That's all fair.
Yeah, so prepare yourself, get your costs in line, start thinking about different revenue streams, start thinking about how to over deliver for your customers over the next few years. And that when you come out of it on the other side, you're going to be better off than when you went in.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't be scared. You just got to deal with it head on. Period. Is that it?
That's
All
it.
right, that's it for today. Let's go. Till next time.